Hi everybody, I'm Stefan for Plus, and in today's tutorial we are going to take a look on how to shoot some pretty awesome holiday portraits. So let's get started. First of all, I'm going to show you the main things that we are going to need to create the photos. So let's get started. Here is the first thing that we need. This is a Christmas hat, as you can see, and it costs around $2, so it's pretty cheap. The next thing that we need is this kind of a holiday white decoration that uses a lot of small whites and generates some pretty nice colors, and it is going to be used as one of our whites to white the face of our model. And the second white that we need is this here. This one costs around $5 or $6. It's pretty cheap as well. And this is a 100 LED whites that are around $5 again. And you need a black cardboard where you need to use a good tape to stick them to the cardboard, so you have a nice background made of whites. And the last thing that we need is this type of white, which is around like $8 or $10. It's not that expensive, and basically that's it. Let's see some examples of the shots. So this is again, this is of course after some Photoshop retouching, but I'm going to show you how to do this part as well. As you can see, we have some nice and warm white from here, from the star, as you can see, and this white comes from this side. You can see we have some nice eye reflections here and stuff like that, and the nice out of focus whites in the background. As you can see, here is another photo, this one, and as you can see, this is the before of the photo and this is after, as you can see. And one more, this is my favorite one. So another thing that you need is at least 50mm 1.8 lens to get this effect, but of course you can use a different lens, it's up to you. So let's get started. First of all, I'm going to create a new document here and show you exactly what I did. So I'm going to draw where we need to put the background and where we need to put the model and the whites, so you can imagine the setup. First of all, let's take a black brush and let's size it down. So first of all, we need to put the background around here, and this is our cardboard background with the LED whites, and we need to put our model around 1 or 2 meters away from the background. So let's say right here, this is our model. We have our camera here, so let's imagine that this thing here is our lens of the camera, and what we need to do is to take the star white and put it here so it can illuminate the face of our model, and the other blue white we need to put it right here on this side, or probably here. You can experiment and move it so it can illuminate the face on this side to create the different color white. And for example, this is our field of view of our lens, so we need to see the background here and we need to focus on our model, so the whites on the background are out of focus, and basically that's it. And take several photos to experiment with them, and after that you need to open them in Photoshop and retouch them. And there are a variety of techniques that you can do. You can use, say, different color whites, create a bigger background with more whites, and tell your model to hold a sparkler in his hand, and stuff like that. Just experiment and use your imagination, but this is the basics, and I think that the final result came out pretty well. So let's get started. First of all, let's take the untouched photo and let's open it in Photoshop. And once we open it, we have the camera raw dialog window appears, and let's see, we can play with the color temperature here. As you can see, we can set this to auto or S-shot, and I prefer to keep it that way. And as you can see, we have some settings that I used the last time I retouched the photo. So we need to increase the contrast a bit, and just to remove some of the highlights, and also remove some of the shadows, as you can see, and play with the settings, because by default the image looks like so, and if we set this to 25, it gives a bit of a contrast to the image. And basically nothing too special for this setup here. We need to click open image to open this in Photoshop. And now what we need to do is first of all we need to take the spot healing brush tool and start removing some things that we don't want on the skin of our model, for example. And it's pretty straightforward. You can follow along. For example, at this point here we might use a different tool, for example the patch tool. We can take this like so, and the result is not that good, so we can use the stamp tool, and there are hundreds of ways to remove such things. So I need to set the opacity to 100% for this, and we are ready. So that's one thing. Another thing, we need to play with the eyes. So let's create a new layer, and let's increase the vibrance like so, and select the layer mask and invert it. And we need to take a brush and let's make it a bit softer, and increase the size a bit, and make sure we have a white core for the foreground core, and just zoom in and paint here. So the vibrance layer affects only the eyes, and mainly the reflections in the eyes. So as you can see, this is what we are going for, and we need to reduce the vibrance, of course. So let's set this to 50, for example, and let's duplicate the layer, and let's take the lasso selection tool and make a selection around the eyes. So this is the first eye, and we need to select the second. Hold down shift and select the second one, and hold down Ctrl Shift I to invert the selection and hit delete. So we have only the eyes on this layer, and let's call this one eyes. And now we need to take the dodge tool, and we need to exposure the midtones, and just increase the size of the brush, and just to increase, to make the eyes stand out a bit more. And probably this is a bit much, but that's one of the reasons we did it on a separate layer. So we can, as you can see, it looks too fake now, but if we set the opacity to 50%, it's going to have effect and still look nice, probably set it to 40. So let's create another layer, and let's call this one skin, and let's take the stamp tool and set this opacity to 10%, and let's set it to sample from all layers. With that set, select the skin layer, hit S for the stamp tool, and just start clicking and painting just to remove some of the things that we don't want to see, and just to soften the skin of the model. And here as well we can paint. And as you can see, there is a difference. We can remove some things that we don't like or hide them and just make it better. And for example, for the vibrance layer, if your model is a woman, you can take this and just paint on the lips to make the lipstick appear more and make them more vivid. So this is a pretty cool trick. Also, you can use the dodge tool to make the lips or the highlights on the lips brighter and nicer. So you can create some pretty interesting things. And another thing that we can do is to increase the contrast, overall contrast for the image. So let's apply levels, and let's set this to 5 and this to 250. And another thing that we can do is to create another levels layer right here, but increase the contrast like 45, and let's set this to 240. And as you can see, this is how our image looks like. And we need to select the layer mask and hit Ctrl I to invert this, and select a white brush again and increase the size. And as you can see, we have the cable which is out of focus, but we might prefer not to see it. So to make the background with higher contrast, you can make this trick and just paint it out, so it's going to look better. And one of the reasons that we see the background is because of our white from this side. It's so powerful that it whites the background, but this is just because the background was too close, because I don't have much room to shoot it 5 or 6 meters away. So that's it basically. And once we are ready with all those changes, of course we need to play more and soften the skin more and remove things you don't like. Select all the layers, and you can either save this as a PSD file so you can make further changes to it, or just flatten the image and hit Ctrl E, and after that go to filter and click add noise and add a bit of noise, for example like 5%, and after that go to filter, sharpen, and use smart sharpen just to sharpen the image a bit. And I prefer to apply the sharpen after the noise, so the noise is more noticeable and visible, but you can apply first the sharpen and after that the noise, or don't apply a noise. This is the way I prefer to do my images. I like a bit of noise, but it's up to you. And basically that's it. Try to shoot that with an aperture of 1.8 and ISO below 400 or 800, and shutter speed around, well, let's see. So we are going to see that I used a 800 ISO and 100 of second to get this image, but if you have stronger whites or wider aperture like 1.4 or 1.2, you can use different settings. And of course if you have a full frame camera, it's going to have a bigger chip and will take more white, so you can use different settings there. So basically that's it. Hope you like this tutorial. It gives you some nice ideas how you can shoot some pretty cool photos. It's not necessary to be holiday photos. You can shoot a ton of different photos. The main idea here was that I wanted a pretty nice colorful background with two different colors for the whites, one warm color on the one side and one kind of opposite, different, like cold color here on this side. And basically that's it. And the cool thing about this is that you have a nice star reflection in the eye, and you can try different things. You can place the white in front of the face of the model and just to get the reflections in the eyes, and place two different whites on the left and the right side, so you get different colors. But that's up to you. You can experiment. Hope you liked the tutorial and find it useful. Once again, I'm Stefan for Tuts Plus, and we will see you next time.